And I know 10 years from now, I'm going to look back and be so proud of that decision. You know, if I messed up, it was all on me. I live my life week by week. We really liked your story. We really liked, you know, how positive you are. And we just, you know, we want to sponsor you. We want to support you.
I am your host, Greg Pattison. This is the Fore Interview with Tour Pro Anna Young. Anna joining us from the car in Saskatchewan, Canada. A true touring pro,
yes.
A road warrior. Anna Young, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So, folks, as you can tell, she's out there doing what probably many of us would love to do, try to live our dream, and it takes her all over the place. So she was fortunate enough to give us some time in the car, and we're happy to have her. So, Anna, tell us who you are. Who's Anna Young?
Well, I am a Canadian professional golfer from Saskatchewan, and I am the only one who plays out here because there's not as much competitive golf here as there are in other places, or as there is in other places. I started golf when I was 12. I started taking it more seriously when I was 12, and that was when I played my first tournament. But up until then, I actually thought golf was really boring. So I played my first tournament just like for fun, and then I started to slowly like it more than any of the other sports that I played, and eventually I just decided that was what I wanted to do.
Was there a defining moment that helped you decide it was what you wanted to do?
Well, so I used to dance, and I did everything in like tap, jazz, ballet, musical theater, hip hop, lyrical, everything, and I played volleyball, and eventually I just really liked that golf was so individual, and you know, if I messed up, it was all on me. And it was just very, just such an interesting sport that I eventually just started to like more than everything else I did. And then I decided when I was 15, I wanted to play on a college scholarship in the States, which I was able to do, and played for the University of Florida. And then I knew in my head that I wanted to turn pro, but I knew that, you know, I wasn't sure if it was, you know, for sure what I wanted to do. And I was like, you know, I'll decide what I want to do when I'm done college. And that's when I'll make my decision. But there was really no defining moment. I just kind of wanted to do it. And I knew that when I finished college and graduated, I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
And you said, that's it. I'm going all in.
Yep.
Yeah. So who introduced you to the game?
Both my parents played.
Okay.
It's actually super cute. When they first started dating, they would go on like golf course dates and like go play and go for dinner, and eventually, and like they would take me and my sister out to the course when we were younger. But obviously me and my sister were more excited about riding the cart and like getting food than actually playing golf.
Yep.
And,
and my kids were excited about the hot dog. They wanted a hot dog.
Oh,
and
so much more excited about that.
Yeah.
So much more excited. Yeah, golf was like the least of my worries, and then I just eventually started actually liking it once I could hit the ball in the air.
Did you? How long did it take you before you beat them?
I think I probably started beating. Well, my mom used to be a little bit better than she is now, so she actually had a really big knee surgery that took her out of sports for like a solid, you know, like 5 or 6 years. So it wasn't as hard to beat her because she was kind of getting back into golf when I was starting to get good. But I started beating my dad when I was I got excited about winning and beating my dad when I was probably 15. If I played really good, I could beat him when I was 14, but I would have to play really good, I think. Did
you play for anything? Was there anything on the line?
No, not usually, actually. I just played because I wanted to win, but it was so hard because my dad never practices. And his putting was just always so much better than mine. I never understood how he could be so good at putting and just never practice ever.
He's a natural, right?
I know. My mom goes to the golf course to practice, and my dad goes to the golf course to talk. It's like the family joke.
Yeah.
But yet he still plays good.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, you So you said you were going to decide, you finished college, and said you were going to
Yes.
go pro. Was there still anything specific to the decision? Or like you just said, that's just all I saw myself doing.
Yeah, no, that was it. I just, I thought, so I did a psych degree and I loved it.
Okay.
But I just couldn't see myself doing anything else. And I know eventually, like, I want to do other things, but I just right now and when I graduated, I just couldn't see myself doing anything else, and that's just what I wanted to do, and I just went for it.
Yeah, you got to love the all-in aspect, and I think
Yeah,
it's been successful. I mean, you've done really well. I mean, you had what I think I saw in your background. You won 5 amateur, events there in
I
Saskatchewan, and
did.
you
Yes,
cruised along and up through the pros, and then you just recently got a win. So I mean, you've won at all level, right? And you
I
recently
haven't I
got a win.
haven't won on the LPGA yet though. Still working on that.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Working
We'll
at
we'll
all
talk
levels,
about
but
that one here in a little bit because there's some exciting stuff for you, coming down the road here in just a few weeks. But
yeah.
but you did just get a win recently, right? So you're working your way up, right?
I did. Yeah, I am.
You're grinding and trending the right way. So tell us about your recent win.
Well, it's actually a new tour that's kind of come out. So they're normally a men's tour, and they just did 3 events for women this year because they're starting up a full season for women next year, and that one's called the All Pro Tour.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear that they're putting the women on.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for them to start next year. Normally, the mini tour events I play are the Eggland's Best in Florida, and then every once in a while I'll play a Cactus Tour event in Arizona, but those aren't as common if I was to go play over there. But so I wasn't getting into any of the Symetra events, which has kind of been hard this year. So I actually, had decent status, but because there's so many girls that have come over from Europe to play Symetra, it's kind of pushed everybody down because there's more girls playing on Symetra than there normally has been in previous years. So I found this other tour to go play in, and it's awesome. Like they're well funded, they're very well run events. It's really exciting that they're going to have a full tour next year for us. But it was really cool because, obviously winning a tournament in general is really awesome, but I've kind of been working on some stuff in my swing for the last year, and everything just felt like it was coming together because my short game has been really good the last couple of years, and everything just felt like it was falling into place. And I knew that, I won and I played well, but it wasn't my best. It was awesome to win and know that it wasn't my best playing, and I was still able to play well and have it not be my best, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's just it's a what's the way to say it? It's a result of all the hard work you've been putting in. Knowing how to grind. And I know you stand out there days and you just don't feel it. Don't you hate that? You're like, man, just nothing seems to be in the right position. My arms are over here, or whatever it may be. You feel like you're holding somebody else's golf clubs in your hand, but you found a way to win. So that's perseverance, right? And again, you'll do it again. And
everything was finally coming together.
Yeah, the one thing you can count on is you'll be there again, right? It'll continue to happen again, right? So
exactly, yeah. It's just so funny that it's just everything just finally came together. And I kept saying at the beginning of the year, I was playing well, but it was just like, the scores weren't there. And it was just my whole goal with that was like this entire year is just to be patient and let it happen. And it finally just happened. And, I wasn't trying because the first day I played really well. I shot 68. And then the second day I tried to make putts and I shot 74. And I was like, you know what, why am I trying to make putts when they just fell yesterday? I wasn't trying that hard. So then the next day I shot 73 and won, but I sunk more putts because I wasn't trying as hard. I just kind of let it happen and just picked the lines and hit the putt and hoped that it went in, and they did.
And it did. It did. Well, congratulations. Yeah, that's tough. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Just
I know.
Roll it, right?
Overthinking gets you nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the games I'm sure has taught you a lot, right? But what has it taught you the most, I would say, about who you are, yourself? What's this game taught you the most about yourself?
Well, it taught me how to be very resilient, and I don't know if it's come from playing golf that's made me resilient or if I was, resilient to begin with, but it's definitely taught me how to be strong in adversity and not, and just be calm and just think logically and deal with the situation at hand and worry about, the rest later.
Okay. Is there one you can recall recently?
Yeah. So actually during the win, the last one that I won, so I had a friend come caddy for me on the last day of the tournament, but the other days it was just me. And my friend was super helpful. They were telling me about the wind and I wouldn't really call this adversity, but it took me out of my rhythm that I'd had, and I played well with the first 2 days. And it doesn't sound like a big deal if someone's telling you the wind or the yardage or how far they think it's playing with the wind, but when it takes you out of your own rhythm that you are kind of used to, it can throw you off. And I think it's taught me to be very realistic about what I need and be very self-aware of what I need and what I like and what I want when I'm playing. He was being very helpful in the first 5 holes. I played really bad. I wasn't making putts, and I was kind of, I just felt little antsy over shots. And of course, on a normal day, it might not have been as big of a difference, but I was leading the tournament by 1. And so on the 5th fairway, I didn't hit a good shot, and I was like, hey, you know what? Like, let's just talk about anything other than golf. I think that's what I need right now. And he was like, yep, okay, cool. And I was leading the whole tournament except for that 1 hole. I bogeyed number 5, and the girl who was behind me birdied, so she was leading by 1. And after I kind of told my friend that I just needed to talk about anything other than golf, and I was just gonna, hit the shots and stay in my own rhythm like I had the days before, I almost got a hole-in-one on the next hole, and then I just played lights out from there. And it's just such a small difference made such a big impact on the rhythm of how I was playing and the confidence that I had over the ball. And playing golf at this level, it's just, you have to be so self-aware of what you need versus what you think you need. Because when I first started playing professional golf, and I'd never really had, professional caddy before, or, anyone really caddy, the first time I'd ever had one, I didn't really know what I wanted. So I told them, okay, I want this, this, and this. And then they did them. And I was like, oh, God, no, don't do that. I hate this.
Yeah.
And it was just, you just have to be so aware of what you need and be very realistic about what you actually do need versus what you want or what you think you need or want. It's just such a fine line of, one thing going differently and just reacting in a better way and playing well or playing bad. Everything at this level is just so precise.
Sure.
And how you deal with it and how you handle the situation makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I know a number of folks that are, working on their dream there, right? And it seems, you get all that way if you think about it. I mean, you got help around you, you got, teams of people or whatever, but it's really just you. Right, you're just working on it, and it's like it's funny. You get so far, and then you're like, okay, well now there's this other person here. There's this other dynamic. It just becomes from me to the two of us, and now you look down the range. I'm sure you see there's an army of people behind everybody, and this, that, and whatever. And I think Jack Nicklaus said it best a few weeks ago. Listening to one of the tournaments, he said, "There's only 3 things I asked of my caddy: to show up, keep up, and shut up."
Yeah, honestly,
there you go.
That's really what I need. And but the thing is, everybody's different.
Sure.
So, some players want more information, and I'm a very feel, gut-based player. So if I feel like I'm going to hit one shot, like there's no other decision made. Yep. The only thing I will ever need a caddy for, at least how I play now, if they could get me the yardage, sweet. And if I tell them, okay, hey, I'm thinking this, they say, yep. The only time I ever want them to tell me what they really think about my decision is if I'm being way too aggressive. I need them to talk me off the ledge if I'm going to do something crazy. But other than that, I need to play my own game because I play well that way. Yeah. I play well when I just go with my gut and I hit the shots and there's no thinking. Because the more I think, the worse I play. Yeah. And
it sounds like you do great in like a shot clock tournament, right? You got 40 seconds. Just give it to me. I'm going. Right?
Yeah.
So
I think I'd be good at that.
Yeah. So, big thing happening here, the Canadian Open in your home province, right? On I think that's August 23rd through the 26th. You recently got an exemption to play, and not only is it in your hometown, it's your first ever LPGA event. I mean, how excited or maybe how nervous are you, right, to be able to play your first LPGA event in front of family and friends?
You know what? I am more excited than nervous. I've just kind of been preparing like I normally would for any other event. I mean, I'm just, anything that I do right now is bettering my game, and that's the right direction I'm going. I'm not doing anything different to, oh my God, it's the Canadian Open and it's, the first LPGA or PGA event ever in Saskatchewan. Like, it is all of those things, but in the long run, I just want to be better, and I want to be on the LPGA long term. And if I do what I need to do that, I'm going to play well. And if I don't play well, I'm going to have a really amazing learning experience in my home province, in the biggest event for women in golf in Canada in my province. And I'm just so excited. And I think it's going to be a huge thing for my province's golf, especially, I don't know if a lot of people really know about me in Saskatchewan because I'm the only tour player on the women's side. Obviously, we have Graham Dillette, but I'm not big enough for them to really know about me. And I met a couple of the younger girls playing, and it was really cool to meet a couple of them because I just could see that they were super motivated or a little bit inspired that I was actually good enough to be in this event. And I just think having such a big golf event in Saskatchewan is going to make people be like, oh wow, golf is actually kind of cool, or this. I went and watched for a day, and I know nothing about golf, and it was fun, so maybe I'll go play. Because I feel like our province is trying to grow the golf game just in general, and if we can get more people playing for fun, there's a bigger chance that they're going to want to play competitively. But it's hard to do that if you don't have anyone to look up to and be like, oh hey, they did this, that's cool,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So. Look, I love hearing it's business as usual. You did all this stuff that got you to here. You just won a tournament. Just go do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Put the ball in the hole and,
Yeah.
and get a win. And what better in your hometown? You think you can grow the game or get girls into the game? How about you step up there and knock one out of the park, right?
Exactly.
So
but
but
it's like any other event. I'm gonna go and play, and whatever happens is going to happen, and
Yep.
I'm either going to be happy about it or I'm going to learn from it, and it's going to be an amazing experience because it'll be my first one ever in, my home.
Yeah.
I love being from Saskatchewan.
Yeah. Soak it all in while you can, right? Soak it all in.
Yeah, exactly.
So it didn't come without a difficult decision, though, right? So you had a
Yeah.
pretty big decision to make related to participation in Q School. So tell us
Yeah.
about that.
So, the Canadian Open is the same week as first stage LPGA qualifying. And unfortunately, because there's so many more girls playing on Symetra than there has been in previous years, I haven't got in enough events to make enough money to bypass first stage, which is really unfortunate because I felt, and I knew that it was the same week, and I knew that, the whole year that I was, I wasn't getting in events, and I was kind of expecting to get in events with the status that I had, because normally you would. And I just was, starting to get a little bit worried. And I was like, well, you know what? If I have to choose, I'm going to have to choose, but I won't choose until I have to. And turns out I had to choose. But I'm really excited to play in the Canadian Open in Saskatchewan because it's the first one ever. It's going to do so much for my province. And I know 10 years from now, I'm going to look back and be so proud of that decision.
Sure.
Because Q School's always going to be there, and if I don't make it on the LPGA, this decision is not going to be the reason why.
And you can't pass it up. I mean, what a great
No.
opportunity to be at your home and in front of it and make an impact locally. Is there I'm not familiar with benefits or parameters of that. Is there a specific finish you have that either would, let's say if you finish in the top 20, does that give you a better status on the Symetra? Or I know in the PGA Tour, if you finish in the top 10, you get in automatically into next week's event, or some placings on the line that help you continue?
No. So, unfortunately, there's no crossover between LPGA and Symetra.
Okay.
So if I played really well at the LPGA event, the only way that I would get anything out of it other than a really good paycheck would be I would have to win to obtain an LPGA card for next year. But if I came second or top 10, it wouldn't really do anything for me status-wise.
Okay. So
Mhm.
let's talk about tours you play on. You said you played the Eggland's Best Tour, and that's
Yep.
a I've talked to Kayla and I think Anna Lesher and some of us have talked about that. That's a pretty exciting opportunity there with Eggland's Best getting on for 5 years to help women's golf there. You got the
Yeah.
APT Tour you're playing again. They're getting into women's golf. Hallelujah. And you know from
Mhm.
time to time from Cactus Tour. So you're going where you got to go to play the game, right? And to get it done.
Yeah.
But how many events will you play this season?
You know what? A couple people have asked me that question, and I have no idea because I live my life week by week, and by the end of the year when I do my taxes and stuff, and for my like visa and everything, I have to know how many days I've spent in the U.S. and how many tournaments I've played, just as a general idea. But honestly, I have no idea. I just I play when I can play, and the off weeks I take when I need, and I don't really figure that out till the end of the year.
Okay, there you go. You do what you can do when you can do it.
Exactly. That is
There you
my
go.
life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you got any strategic partners that help you out there on tour, sponsors or anything?
Yeah. So I actually work with. I'm an ambassador for Motivate Performance, like Kayla.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
they have the best protein powder I've ever had in my life. I've never liked chocolate protein powder until I tried theirs. And they actually when they first contacted me, they had asked, or they're like, yeah, like we'll send you some product to try, and let us know what you think. And they sent me a chocolate protein powder, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm so sorry, but could you send a vanilla protein powder because I don't like any chocolate protein powder. And so I didn't even try it because I've tried so many, and I love chocolate, so in my head I feel like I should like it, but I just never have. And I ran out of the vanilla. So I had to have the chocolate the one morning, and I was like, oh my God, this is so good. It was
You're all
amazing.
sorry. Can you send more chocolate,
Yeah,
please?
I
So,
know, it was so
yeah,
funny.
yeah. So, are you officially on the chocolate bandwagon with Motivate Performance now? You're just that's the one. Keep the vanilla. I'll take the chocolate.
I go back and forth because
Yeah,
so I like to like switch it up with like different,
sure.
I kind of make like mini like milkshake, like protein milkshakes with them. So I add like vanilla extract or like almond extract, and like I add sprinkles and cinnamon or like other, good tasting spices to like make every shake different. Because having the same shake every day, I'm not, I love to cook, and I don't like having the same food every day. Like I can do leftovers like the day after, but if I have something 3 days in a row, I like get really sick of it. So for me, I like being creative in the kitchen. So it's actually really fun to make different, protein shakes or milkshakes, whatever, with the protein, because I can add bananas or I can add fruit and different spices and extracts to make them taste so much different,
Okay.
and yet they taste like dessert for breakfast.
Yeah, I think what you need to do. We need to get a Annie Young Motivate protein shake recipe and
Yeah.
put it up on the profile on the Fore Show homepage for you. I think we let
I can
listeners
do
know
that.
make one, Anna. You got to get that to us. So that'd be great. Anybody
I
else you
got
work
I
with?
got a couple different combinations.
All right, yeah, make the recipe. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So, anybody else you're working with out there on tour right now?
Yeah. So I am sponsored by Battery Watering Technologies. I played with one of the CEOs earlier this year, and they really enjoyed my story, and they thought I was. Actually, it's kind of funny. I told them, when it was him and his partner that I had played with at my golf course randomly. We got paired together, and they offered to sponsor me after the end of the round. And as we talked, as the deal was kind of settling in, I was like, I didn't play very well the day that I played with you. I was like, why? I literally asked him, I was like, why did you decide to sponsor me? Because in my head, I played terrible, and it wasn't my best game at all, and yet they still wanted to sponsor me. And he said, we really liked your story. We really liked, how positive you are, and we just, we want to sponsor you. We want to support you. And it just was so nice for them to say that, and and I'm just happy that they're going to be pleasantly surprised that I'm like so much better than when
Yeah,
the day that they had played with me.
that's a really special story, and I think it's hats off to them for sponsoring you, and they know they're with you Even if you have a little dip, they're with you because they're almost like friends. You can count your friends. They're with you
Yeah,
good, thick and thin, and that's a really cool story. So, folks,
yeah, it is.
that's what players like Anna need. They need people that believe in them and help them get there. So that's wonderful. So where can fans? So you've got the Canadian Open. Obviously, that's there in your hometown coming. Where else can fans watch you play over the summer?
Well, I'm hoping to get into the rest of this Metro event, which is still very up in the air. They just did the last reshuffle of the year, so that's going to kind of determine where I am on the list. So hopefully I get in the rest, because if I play decent and actually get into the events, then I will still be able to keep Symetra status for next year without playing Q School. But if I don't get into any events, I can't make money to keep my status. So as of right now, I'm hoping to get into the rest of the Symetra events. If not, I'm going to try and play some like state opens and any of the Eggland's Best Tour events when they start coming up again. They're kind of on a break right now. I live my life week by week, so I'm really just, picking things as they come along.
Yeah. Or they say in Fast and Furious, a quarter mile at a time, right?
Yeah.
Tournament at a time. So hey, let's let me go back a little bit to your college career at the University of Florida,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So, what did you learn while at the University of Florida that helps you out on tour today?
College golf is so interesting because like football or basketball, like college sports for them is more of a stepping stone into the pros. But for us, everything that I learned at college, there were so many great life lessons and lots of, different things I had to deal with on the golf course, or not necessarily on the golf course, but like, while playing golf and going to school and being very, very aware and very organized with my school schedule in relation to the tournament. I feel like college golf taught me more life lessons and more different situations that I hadn't had to deal with during golf tournaments or, things like that. Just because college golf is so different because you're on a team and, you're playing for yourself, but it's very easy to, if you're not playing well, it's like, okay, well, it's okay. Like one of my other teammates will play better, but, you can't, when you turn pro, that's not how it is. Like when you're a college golfer, you rely on your teammates a little bit, and it's easy to rely on them too much. So I learned that, even if my teammates were playing really well, there was a year or two in the middle of college where I I wasn't really playing very well, and I wasn't sure if I was for sure going to play golf after because I wasn't playing well, and I just hadn't really felt like I played well in college. And then I just started, I was like, whatever, like I'm going to do what I need to do. And then I won my first college tournament as a sophomore in the fall, which was awesome because it was the first event of the year. And unfortunately, then I injured my wrist and I had to get surgery the next semester. But college golf is just so different than professional golf. I think it teaches you to be organized, which is very helpful. But that is one of the main things that I would have taken out of college golf that's prepared me for professional golf.
Okay. So I've asked this of a few recent interviewees. It's incoming time for freshman girls, coming back to school right now, right? So what advice could you give, or do you have for incoming freshman girls that are about to experience that, that collegiate golf for the first time? What would you tell them?
I would say that you need to keep in mind that, there's always going to be team practice, but you always need to know and be aware of the things that you need to get better as your own individual player. I loved team practice with my teammates and my coaches. It was great. I would always have competition. But it's very easy to have like a 3-hour practice and then go home and do homework instead of like having, going out and playing 9 holes if you like have to be there for 3 hours or, because usually in college golf there's like, if you don't have a team practice, it's like a required number of hours to practice on the day that doesn't have team practice. And I would just say use those days to make better what you need to personally make better. Like competition or like it's really nice to have other people to compete with and chip in competitions or to go play 9 holes with, because as a professional you know, the most important thing is to learn how to play. If you can go play 18 holes and not be hitting the ball well and getting it in the hole anyways, that's what's going to make you a better player.
There you go. All right. So girls, you heard it. You heard it first from Anna, right? Take the advice. She's well experienced and done a good job with it. So let's go the other way. Well, I'm going to ask you this one here. How would your friends describe you off of the golf course?
Organized and, very, very organized, having to deal with all the travel I deal with, and pretty low-key. I'm pretty chill. It takes a lot to make me really angry or really, super excitedly happy. Pretty even keel, which is, honestly, I'm like that on the golf course, too, but
okay.
I don't know. I'd like to think that they think I'm fun as, friends, so I can't be that boring.
Right. Well, check out her Instagram page. I think you're having some fun there. So.
I was. It was my birthday over the weekend, and I, was trying to fix my tan lines by the pool.
There you go. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
So, final serious question here, and then we'll take a crack at some emergency 9 fun ones I have, because,
okay.
Nobody can, none of us who we always need the emergency 9, right? Some of us do. So what don't people know about you, Anna, that you feel is important that they should know about you?
Probably, I am a golfer and I love being a professional golfer, but I think as an athlete it's really easy to get caught up as, being a golfer is part of my identity. And, I'm not just a golfer. I like to play guitar. I love to cook. I love hanging out with my friends and going to the lake with my family. And, I think it's really easy to, picture athletes or celebrities, or people who are, in the tabloids, or, people that are looked up to in society on Instagram and stuff. We are very real people. And, some people, it's very easy to get caught up, as, golf is my identity. But I think it's really important as an athlete, but also as, supporters of athletes, to know that there's way more to a person than, their job or their golf game or, their sport or what they're known for. Because, if they ever were to lose that, if I was to ever get injured, or if I, if I stopped golfing, or if anyone ever stopped, playing as a sport that they did as their job, it's really hard to get through that when you feel like you've lost your identity. And the reason why I feel like that's so important for people to know is because, in one of my psychology classes, it was kind of something we talked about, that a lot of professional athletes, if they were to get injured and not be able to play their sport anymore, or a lot of, if anyone was to decide that their job or something was their identity and all of a sudden they couldn't do it anymore, it's really easy to spiral into a depression, or just not feel like yourself anymore if you can't do your job, or you can't, if I couldn't golf anymore. But there's so much more to being who you are outside of your job or your sport or your hobby, that if you were ever to not be able to do it anymore, I think that it is so important to know that there are so many other great parts of you as a human outside of, my job or my sport.
Wow, that's well said, Anna Young. There, that is well said. So,
thank you.
All right, so hey, let's get to the emergency 9. I've got Anna Young, guitarist, cooking aficionado, here with us for 9 quick fun questions. And
right.
We'll let you finish your drive. Hopefully we helped you kill some of that windshield time, and really enjoyed what we've had so far. So, all right, here we go. 9 of them. All right.
All right.
What major best suits your game?
What major? Oh, craft the best. Oh, no, sorry, the ANA. ANA.
Okay, cool. All right. Who's your dream best ball partner?
Myself, because I feel like I know my game and I would know exactly who or what I would do in another situation. I would be a great teammate to myself.
I like that. You just clone me. Sit right over there. So you're like, I got it. I got this. No, I'm good. I got it. I got
Yeah.
it.
Well, if you don't believe you got it, how are you gonna get it?
That's true. I like that answer. You know what? I'm going to put that down in my notes. I'm going to put a star next to that one. I think that's the best answer I've had. I've had, different ones, obviously, but nobody said it's me. Man, I got this. All right. That's really cool. All right. So, favorite snack of yours during tournament rounds?
Oh,
During the tournament round.
during a tournament round. Probably. So I kind of I found this recipe that's basically like a protein cookie dough,
Okay.
and you just have to add water to it. So I just bring like a cup on the course with me, and I add the water to the protein and like the mixture with sprinkles, and it's so good.
Ooh.
But just enough water to make it like a dough. You can't. It's very easy to add too much, and then it's like a protein cookie dough drink. But it's better as dough.
Yeah. Okay. All right. How about this one? How about the best prank that someone got over on you?
Huh.
Anybody
I don't
get you?
actually know.
No? Okay, how about the other way?
No,
How about the
I
best
don't
prank you've
have a
pulled
lot of
on somebody?
pranksters in my life.
No?
I don't have a lot of those in my life.
No. How about you? You got a prank that you pulled on somebody?
Well, I told my mom I dyed my hair pink once, and I used an app to like dye my hair pink in the picture, and I sent it to her, and I was like, guess what I did? And she freaked out. It was so funny. She was like, well, at least it'll have faded a little bit by the time you and, like, me and your dad get to Florida to come visit you. And I'm like, I didn't tell her till she didn't know. She thought it was pink for about 3 weeks till she came to visit me in Florida.
Oh, that's funny. She pranks
It was
mom. She pranks
hilarious.
mom. How about that? She's like,
Yeah.
that's great. All right. You got any golf superstitions?
No, I'm actually probably the least superstitious golfer.
Okay. Good. How about the last club you'd replace in your bag?
The last club?
Yeah, what you wouldn't pull out. The one you would have the hardest time to get out of your bag. What's the last one you'd replace?
My putter.
Trusty old faithful.
Yep.
There you go.
I got this putter about 2 years ago now, so 2.5 years ago now. And, the putter that I had before that I had for 8 years. So I know it's going to be in my bag a while.
Okay. And if you don't think about it, you don't try, it just does what you want it to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay. So, let me ask you this. Would you hit a hard 7-iron, or would you rather take something off the 6? Are you going to step on that 7, or are you going to take something off the 6?
It would depend on the day, but right now I would probably step off the 6, but I would choke up and hit a low power cut.
A low power cut. Squeak one right in there. There you go.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Lowest round you've ever had to par, in or out of competition? What's the lowest you shot?
-5, and I have shot it multiple times.
Just trying to get off that darn thing. So,
Yeah.
All right. So we're down to the last one here, and a good thing to have, I guess. What's your favorite after round beverage when you're done playing? What do you enjoy?
Honestly, I love margaritas. They're so good. But usually I don't drink enough water, so usually I'm just drinking a bunch of water so that I don't have a headache later. Because I don't drink enough water in general. I'm probably dehydrated about 90% of my life.
I was similar. I cameled my way through through sports. I don't know how, but somehow I did. So, and margaritas are on my bride's side. So you get after,
Yeah.
you get the round, you get hydrated, you get to dinner, get yourself the big margarita, and
Yes,
enjoy.
definitely.
So, well, we just spent some time, folks, with Annie Young, professional golfer, winner at all levels, and about to do so on the LPGA as she makes her way there. Guitarist, cook, protein shake aficionado, I guess, right? You got all kinds of stuff going on. We're going to look for that recipe. Yeah. And, I got to tell you, thanks for spending time. How do people follow you? What social media platforms can they look for you at?
Well, I mostly post on Instagram, and it's
Okay.
the Anna Young. And then I do have a Facebook page called Anna Young Golf. I don't know. I try and post on that more, but Instagram's kind of where I mostly post things. And every once in a while, I'll post stuff on Twitter with the same name as my Instagram.
Okay. All right, and we'll get folks, you heard it here, where to follow her. I'll also, Anna will also get these up on the homepage at theforeshow.com, so people can, click right in and get over to your site as well. So,
Sounds awesome.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on the Fore Interview with us today.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's nice to share my story.
It was even better to listen to them.
Well, it'll be cool, hopefully, in years to come when I do get on the LPGA and look back and be like, oh, that was so cool, such a cool experience.
Yeah. And I'm hoping I get an interview at that time too. So.
Call me up, you got it, man.